3 minutes. Residents, taxpayers, or electors may address the commission. Is there anyone here at this time wishing to address the commission? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 2. Application petitions. 1,125 Oak Road, sewer extension. And, okay, good, okay. All right, just give your name and your company that you're.
My name is Ted Hart. I'm a professional engineer with the firm of Milford with offices in Cheshire. I'm here on behalf of the Davis Holding Company, I believe it's called, and Urban Mining in Connecticut for an application at 1125 Oak Road. This is the site, and I probably explained this to everybody, this is the site of here in Sand and Gravel where this is going in. It's north of Big Drive, sewage treatment plant, Grillo property, across the railroad tracks, across Roanoke Road is the substation, power plant, and the big manufacturing. So what they're planning on doing is building a manufacturing facility. This is the site plan right here, the manufacturing facility. It's approximately 65,000 square feet, including 2 future expansions that they've already planned for. That's included in the overall square footage. So we'll go back to this. So what this is a manufacturing facility that will take glass, recycled glass, and create something called positive, which is a powder that is used in concrete, paint, and other adhesives and other products. Let's see. So when it's fully operational, there will be 12 employees per shift, 3 shifts a day, for a total of 36 employees, which will generate approximately 9,000 gallons or 900 gallons per day. There's only 3 toilets, 2 urinals, 5 hand sinks, and 1 janitor's sink in the facility. It does not use any processed water. It's all dry. So they don't use any processed water that would be added to the sewer. So what we're here for is we're planning on extending the sewer in Roanoke Road approximately 600 feet to a manhole that's just inside the property line. And then on site, we're going to have a small packaged sewage treatment or packaged pump station that will pump up to this gravity line that we're building in Roanoke Road. And once we get approval, we'll look to, working out the design details of the small pump station with Mark, and we'll review it with you. And right now we're thinking about an E1 type of pump station. So that's pretty much it. It's all of the offices are basically over in this corner, and that's where the laboratories and the sinks are. The rest of this is all basically dry. There's no plumbing in it. So that's it. Do you have any questions?
I ask why don't you just put it in a septic system?
We thought about it. One of the issues is that septic systems have to go into native soil. Not very much here. All of this has been disturbed, as you can see. The only place we could put it is right over here. We did talk about it, and we were thinking about doing that, and they decided they'd rather be on sewers, so that's what we were told to do. So that's it.
We'll entertain a motion on the floor for discussion purposes.
I move that we approve the application.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Is this a privately owned pump station that's going to be installed?
Yes, this will be, the gravity sewer in Roanoke Road will be public, and once it goes across the property line, the force main and the pump station will be private.
Well, your gallonage is way under, so that's a no-brainer there. I guess the only issue on the therefore the only issue really is the sewer extension, and who's going to do that and who's going to monitor it. And Mark, do you have any input?
Yeah, I do have a bit of input, and also we discussed this with
Ted had shown us the plans earlier, had some discussion. What we would recommend are three things. One is that we would review the actual construction plans for the 600-foot sewer extension, and review those and comment on those. We would also, when the construction is being done, provide full-time inspection of the construction. And then the third thing is when they put together plans for the pump station, because even though it's gonna be a private pump station, if they or some future owner or whatever goes belly up, the city takes over responsibility of that. So we'll be reviewing those because we'll be looking for things like standby power, 24-hour storage, and duplex pump system, and all the controls that we would like to see if we had to, the city had to take control of that. And so those, I would recommend that those three conditions be the conditions of the approval that they provide us.
Any further questions?
And the other thing I guess I mentioned also is that the cost of that then through the commission be charged to the applicant.
Yeah.
The cost of our review and our inspection.
Just one thing I want to bring up, O&G is involved in this site and this project, and they would like to build the sewer. I don't think they're on your list at this point, but
On what?
they're not on the sewer
Oh,
The
contractor,
pre-qualified list,
the
right.
pre-qualified list. But anyway, I'm not sure what it takes to get qualified, but.
Well, the way the pre-qualification works, I can explain, is that every December, and again this December, purchasing puts out an RFQ, and that's put out online, so anyone that wants to submit on that is submits all the requirements in the RFQ, and there's some questions on bonding and some of your history and also the experience. And so if they submitted the packet, we would review it. If they have adequate experience, then they would be pre-qualified for that.
But the city's not paying for those? For the extension, correct?
Correct.
So, I mean, with the ordinary, putting stuff out the bid and all that stuff, so it wouldn't apply.
But it wouldn't, the bidding wouldn't apply. I think we'd like to have and actually later on, we'll talk on the consulting engineers report, we're making a recommendation for sewer extensions. Since the city's gonna own it, we'd like to have a pre-qualified contractor build.
Plus, it's gonna be
Once
connected
it's-
to one of ours.
Because it'll become, once they're done with it,
Yeah,
it will be a city sewer.
yeah.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that, and we certainly don't vote on it. I'm just thinking if a private entity is going to be paying for this,
Yes.
that they ought to have the right to pick their own contractor, provided it's the city specs and that it's pre-qualified.
Yes, we would dictate the contractor, they would just have to be one of the, right now there's 14,
Right,
so they would need to select one of the 14.
okay.
Yeah, it would be
Mr. Chair.
somebody that we've dealt with, pre-qualified as to their choice, and would be inspected by us as any sewer maintenance. The only difference is that it's their dime or our dime.
Right.
And that would just be the city work, that wouldn't necessarily be, I mean, anything that's on the property would not be part of that.
No,
Just the,
correct.
just the sewer that the city would own.
Mr. Chair. So as soon as it becomes a building department matter, how they build their pump station and all that is, we don't need to put on additional financial burdens on these people. I mean, all they need to do, not the city, that the city's gonna own in our street, that's perfectly legitimate. But the pump station, all that is upon them. I don't see why we should have our people inspect it or everything. We have a building department for that.
Well, we wouldn't inspect that, we would just review their plans to make sure that what they're proposing is gonna be consistent in the event that the city had to take it over. So we wouldn't inspect their work on the private property, no.
Okay.
It would just be a matter of having a look at their plans and comment on them and say you need to upgrade this or that.
On the public property, correct?
Well, also the private pump station, because it is possible the city may become responsible for that pump station.
I don't see any problems or any harm in having us just review to make sure that what they're putting in there is sufficient and it's going to meet our standards and,
Okay, I just don't want an undue financial burden for them to, it's funny, Instead, we have a building department about it. They come in, they look, boom, gone.
No, I don't believe so, I don't think that they review that. It's done through engineers. And, it would probably still come back to the sewer commission for a sign off.
Because it's pumping into a system that's pumping into our system, right?
Yeah.
Going by gravity.
Right.
Yeah, no, that-
No, he just said it's a gravity flow.
Well, it's gravity from here,
Here.
you know,
Yeah.
this is gravity. This is the pump station, it'll have a force main up to here, and then once it gets onto the town, the city's property, then it's all gravity of the sewage treatment plant. I don't see a problem with, you know, having to review
Review that.
this.
That's fine.
I mean, I think it's pretty standard stuff.
Okay, would you like to see an amendment to that, to the motion to approve with the 3 points that were brought up by our consulting engineer? The one to review the 600-foot sewer extension, the plans for the sewer extension, and provide full-time inspection for the section that's on Orinoco Road to 600 feet, and also review the plans for the pump station. And the cost of all that will be to be borne by the applicant.
I'd amend my motion to include that, and move that we accept it with those stipulations.
And I will second that.
All right, take a motion to, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes.
Great, thank you very much,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Good luck.
Okay, so let's get this thing, it's gonna take recycled glass
Yes,
and,
grind it up,
yeah,
grind it, and make it into something called positive, which is a powder that goes into concrete, paint, and adhesives and things like that. I'm sure there's a lot of other things that I haven't, so mostly it's gonna be used for concrete, I believe.
Because they're the same substances in both, right? Kind of the same.
Well, right now, a lot of concrete uses fly ash, which is something that comes from
Coal.
fired power plants, and there's not much coal anymore, so
Yeah.
this is something that they've developed that works very well in concrete.
okay, and so all the recycled trucks, we're gonna do something with our glass now. Very good.
Yep.
Do you know, I mean, it's probably, I don't know if it's your entity, where they're gonna be getting the glass from, locally recycling?
Yeah, it comes from the recycling facilities. I'm not sure exactly where it comes from, and I know that when it comes into the site, it's gonna be, you said 97% clean, so they only do like a final cleaning of it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, you know, if the recycling centers get it that clean, but
Right.
somebody does.
Somebody does.
Yeah. So it's a way, you know, it's a way to use the glass, because I guess what happens now, a lot of the glass goes into landfills.
Yeah, yeah. Recycle right into landfills.
Recycled into.
Yep.
All right?
Good.
Any questions?
Thank you very much.
Great,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Moving on to the third item on the agenda, Westcott Maze.
Yes, we'll start, item A is the Rock Street and Welch's Point pump stations. We had a walkthrough last week, and I think that was interesting, pretty beneficial, and then the project now is under warranty until
Right.
August of next year. And so we'll keep track of that. Item B is the Beaverbrook wastewater treatment plant aeration line replacement. There's no change from the last report. Item C is the Viscount Drive sanitary sewer force main. And we, as it says here, we got the notice of award back from Empire Paving that they've accepted or acknowledged the notice. So they'll be putting together their bonds, and we'll get all that, the bonds, and certificate of insurance to us, we'll put together the agreement, get that signed, issue the notice to proceed. Once that's done, go through submittals, and they're expecting, they tell us, that depending on how long that process takes, that they should be able to start construction next month at some point. And get out there and get to work on that.
It can be done by Memorial Day.
Yeah, they have to be done by Memorial Day. And so they're already making plans on how they're gonna do that and where they're gonna start, and they're anxious to get going. So I expect this will this will move pretty quickly. One item to add on that was we had being that this was the number 2 bid, the initial bid was, we had just enough money to handle that, and we needed an additional, I think, roughly $47,000 to get to this next bid. They were about that amount higher. We have found that there's money available. I think there was, you were looking at the aeration line account, and we talked to Chris about this actually just before the meeting. And so what we'd like to do is have authorization to move that money from the, talk to finance, to move that money from the aeration line account to this one, so that we have all the funding in place for this project before we get the agreements.
Is that strictly a process with finance, or is it something that the board has to vote on?
I think we'd ask the board to approve us
Yeah.
going to finance to do that. I don't know if that's necessary, but I think it's advisable
Okay.
to do that.
Any questions on that? Do I have a motion first to authorize the consulting engineers to contact finance and move the necessary funds from the aeration line over to the Viscount Drive sanitary sewer force main replacement? Second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Hearing none, I have a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right.
All right, item D is the Sailor's Lane pump station generator replacement. And all the equipment materials we have the contractor has those in their possession. The electrical engineer is coordinating with UI. There's a question on the transformers as far as the voltage on what's there and what's needed for the equipment. And once we get that resolved, we'll start work, because everything's ready for that. But we would expect, possibly as early as next week. Houstonic wastewater digester gas piping repairs, and again, we'll work on the specifications and the plans for that, and expecting to bid that toward the end of next month. Item F is it's actually the Boston Post Road force main replacement is the bulk of that project, and we actually just received the DOT approval letter this afternoon, so we'll get the prevailing wage information. One item we talked to the Public Works Director, we'll be adding an alternate to that project for a, right now, like a lot of the stations, it has a buried fuel oil tank. And so we'll add an alternate to the bid to remove that tank and put an above ground tank, and if it's a good price, we'll take it, if it fits within the budget. So we'll make that revision, get their wage rates, because they have to be current when we bid it, and then put it out to bid. But we would expect, I talked to the purchasing agent, and we're expecting early next month that we'll put that out to bid. And that's that's
What's that,
the projects.
Number 4, the consulting engineers report.
And then under the consulting engineers report, the Public Works Director requested that that the commission establish a policy for sewer extensions. And so what we got written here is that the policy that we're recommending is that and pretty much kind of what we talked about here with this project was just, the application was just here. And that would be that the plans be reviewed, the construction plans be reviewed by your consultant, would be one part of the policy. That the inspection be also, of the construction also be performed by the consultant. That the contractor that does the work is one of the pre-qualified contractors from the approved list for that year. And then that the applicant then pay the cost for the inspection and the review, and that be done through the commission. And that's what we're recommending for our policy for sewer extensions.
Well, congratulations, you achieved all 3 plus 1. Yeah, we just voted on it.
Oh. Well, so what we want to do is put that in the policy with it would then be published, it would be online with the other policies for the sewer quotes, the calculations, and how much capacity you're required to have. And so it would be something that would be posted so everybody sees it up front, because right now it's not really posted anywhere, just as part of the policy.
Probably at this time, baffling my mind here, I guess it would be the position of the sewer commission to adopt this policy. I think it's, as far as I know, it's a straightforward process that we would just accept this recommendation and adopt the policy, and it'd be so posted. Any questions or concerns from the board? Ned, do you agree with it, or?
I'm just, I mean, what we're doing is we're making our consultant the default. You know, I mean, it's once again, it's the problem that I've had from day one, that we're having our consultant advise us on whether the consultant should be involved in doing other things for the commission. And absolutely, that's no denigration towards Mr. Davis or Westcott Mapes. It's just, whether it was anybody, it's, we've got our consultant consulting with us about whether or not they should be the consultant. So here we're institutionalizing a process whereby our consultant will be involved in every project involving a sewer extension. You know, I mean, that's gonna happen anyway under the way things are set up currently.
Right.
You know, the only other way to do this is to put out, you know, the consulting on this stuff to bid. You know, every time there's a sewer extension, we put out, all right, who's our consultant gonna be? They have, you know, they gotta bid on that.
Yeah.
And then advise us. We've chosen not to do that. But, you know, it's this sort of internal conflict that I always have about it, where our consultant is advising us about stuff that he's involved in. And I don't mean Mark particularly, I just mean the consultant in general as a thing here, but,
that would, this project is no different other than whose dime it is. If the city was going to put that extension in, then we would go out to bid and find a contractor, and our consultant would review it.
Would review it. I think you're right, and maybe I'm missing that point, but I think that was lost in my analysis. If in fact, bless you, if in fact every sewer extension is paid for by private property owners, then absolutely, we should have our consultant involved, and it shouldn't be a process.
Right.
And then, I mean, I didn't take a position one way or the other, I was just sort of talking. But if that in fact is the case, that this is on somebody else's dime, clearly we have trust and confidence in our consultant because they advise us on these things. They should advise us then on stuff when it's on somebody else's dime as well.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with institutionalizing, or not institutionalizing, but what's the
Putting
what
it
I'm looking for?
putting
Putting it in a procedure.
document.
Yeah, putting it as a policy and procedure. So,
Okay.
I don't know if it helps, I mean, 2 points was the request came from the Public Works Director.
Right.
His recommendation. And then the other is the payment should go through the commission.
Okay.
So that you can see what that is. And
Okay,
and approve it.
that solves it, at least one other concern, so that's, I'm good.
Okay, good. All right, then I would entertain a motion at this time that we accept the recommendations of the Public Works Director and the sewer consultant to adopt the policy as that has been described to us.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay.
Discussion. Well, we can just satisfy everything that the construction inspection be performed by a sewer commission consultant versus the.
By the sewer commission consultant, by a sewer commission consultant?
Leaves the door open for other free market.
Except that we've retained Westcott Mace as our consultant. I think if they were no longer our consultant, this would apply to the next consultant.
The next consultant, right, yeah. Yeah, I think we'd be opening up ourselves, you could play with words there. By the sewer commission consultant, by a sewer commission consultant, I would say it's the consultant that the sewer commission has,
Hired.
hired. Yeah, it's our sewer commission, not somebody else's sewer commission, or somebody else's consultant, it's our consultant. I would recommend that we stick with the word the, as it is printed.
I would concur.
Very good. All right, hearing no other further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I just had a couple other items that aren't on here. We had, I think a couple of days ago, we got an application for there's a new I guess I don't know if you want to call it a commercial enterprise, it's called cottage food, where folks prepare food in their homes. And they have to come in with an application for, I think it goes to the Department of Commerce, but there's one question in there, is that they have to check off, that says that they need to, they check either with the health department or with the city to say that their sewer system or their septic system is adequate for them to be able to do these prepared foods. And the type of foods there's a list of the foods, there's like cookies and cakes and fudge, and requirements is it's gotta be done in your own home kitchen. You can't have a commercial kitchen. We actually, Bev had checked with the sanitarian at the health department, and actually even if it was a restaurant, it would still be a class 2, would not require a grease trap or any type of unit like that. Just wanted to bring that to your attention, that this is kind of a new thing that's, for folks to be able to produce these kind of items in their home and then sell them. And, farmers markets are aware of it, so I just wanted to make you aware of that. And
Thank
so
God they don't need a grease trap.
So they come in, they take a look, and I think you were looking at handling it, it was just verifying that they were connected to the system.
Yeah.
And then initially where they check the box.
Yeah.
And then keeping a copy in the file for the record, under the address, so we were aware of it. There's that, and then the other thing is we had done some more smoke testing at Gloria Commons this morning. Wastewater was out there, and there were a couple of units that had some concerns, and we did find in 2 units they were getting sewer gases inside the unit. One was from all the fixtures in one of their bathrooms, and so we advised them they need to have a plumber come and take a look at that. And then the other one, was in an upstairs unit where they had a hot water heater with a drain, and it was coming out the drain and setting off the smoke alarms. So they're the same thing, to ensure they had a trap and keep it filled and have a plumber look at that. But it's all private type repairs. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, Leslie, wastewater report.
Okay.
Lindsay.
Close enough.
Whatever. Yeah.
So, it was a pretty quiet month. Housatonic plant averaged 299 pounds of nitrogen for the month. I kind of neglected to put in here, we're still at 340 pounds for the year. And our limit's 307, so we're still hovering a little over our permit. So we're working pretty hard to get that back down. We don't have much time left in the year, just keep in mind. Beaverbrook plant's been performing well, nitrogen-wise, so I don't think that one will be a problem. Remember, that one was over last year, I don't think that'll happen this year. The only other thing of note I have here is at Viscount Drive Pump Station. A few months ago, we drained it, did some repairs on one of the pump elbows in the wet well.
Right.
When we were down there, we noticed the other elbows were also deteriorated. So we went back in there and replaced those. And we pulled, we had put one new pump in. The 2 old pumps, the cooling jackets on those pumps had corroded where there's holes in them. So we pulled one of those pumps out, replaced the cooling jacket. I don't believe we put it back in yet, but we'll put it back in shortly. And then we'll take the 3rd pump out, replace that cooling jacket, and that station should be in fairly decent shape.
And a lot of that is going to be replaced with the force main replacement, right?
Well, force main, the pumps themselves, no.
No, not the pump, okay, just the main, okay.
Right, just the piping, and then we're gonna put a sump pump in the valve hole,
Right.
so that doesn't flood.
So, everything else is just our standard fare, if you have any questions.
Actually, the other thing on that too, just to mention quickly, we are also going to put a bypass manhole in
Yes.
there. So then in the future, when you gotta do this, they can bypass the thing completely and dry it out and get to it.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board? Good. Moving on to committee reports, having none. Old business, having none. Voting for the regular meeting minutes of August 28, 2019.
Move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
They all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And we have the minutes for the special meeting.
I'll move to approve that,
Okay, yes.
because I was there.
Are you familiar with that?
I've just read the summary of it, but I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't present at the meeting, so I can't approve of the minutes.
Okay.
There aren't enough people here to approve it.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a motion to approve, and, can we do that?
No,
Yeah,
no,
we
you
can't
don't
approve
know
them.
people.
You're gonna have to wait.
Yeah, we gotta wait for, Brian.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll hold those minutes.
Okay.
Table that.
To the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And the, we got the approval of payments, and approval of payments in the amount of, $187,005.99. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Second,
I gotta get a second, sir.
okay. Okay.
I thought, when you said it, it was that you were seconding it. That's
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. And we got the sewer commissions, 14 of them.
Yeah, it's looking at them.
Yeah.
Anything good?
Most of them look like just family,
Yeah, it looks like family hooks, but when you look at the owners of the property, it's all buildings.
all builders, right, yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Money, rest of them, builders for family?
you're right.
Yeah. Molly Rentals, I think that's, right,
Yeah, 30 served and 34 served.
yeah. Yeah, there was two houses, there was one house in there and two lots or something, so they split the lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they put two houses up there, monsters, yeah. All right, that's the chairman's report. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye. All right.
Were you aware, fully aware of what happened here?
I just read that all